Brazil's National Football Show, bottom of the hour. We're going to talk to our friend Rohan Marley, get his thoughts. And again, we look forward to talking with Rohan. That'll be bottom of the hour here as we will try to connect with our friend. Vic Fangio, how much do you want him involved with the drafting of players on defense? You know, he was the head football coach of the Denver Broncos, and he drafted Patrick Surtain. His last year was 2021. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me, but I think he was the head coach until 21 in Denver. And that was Patrick Surtain's first year. So he spotted the best cover corner that's in the National Football League right now. Okay? So he knows talent. He knows talent. Would you want him to be in the room with Howie? Okay? Would you want him to be in the room with him when it came to the type of players that they're looking for? I would want him to be. I would lean on him. I would. What kind of player are you looking at, linebacker? What kind of player are you looking at when it comes to your corners? People that you're looking at rebuilding your roster with. Because to me, it looks like he knows what he wants on defense. I think that'd be an asset to Howie. Because I'm going to tell you this. Howie Roseman has to get this right. He clearly has to get this draft right. He's got to. Linebacker, he's notoriously known for his development of linebackers, Vic Fangio. Okay? Right? Well, that's inevitable. Howie will be in the war room. But Denny, I don't know if I want Howie making the final call. But Crowley, that's not the case. You're giving the obvious too much credit. Okay? You're giving the obvious too much credit. Look, like I said, Nakobe Dean's a third-round draft choice. So is Fred Warner. How did John Lynch and those guys land on Fred Warner? How'd they land on him? Because you know why? John Lynch is a football guy. Howie Roseman is a bookworm. He's not a football guy. GM's job is not an easy job. It's not an easy job when you think you know more than the other guys that are in the building than you. And you make it harder. Personally, I think your general manager makes his job harder. I think he makes his job harder. Dude, if I don't know how to draft corners and edge and linebackers, I'm going to hire the best assistant scouting guy I can possibly find to come onto my staff. I'm not just going to keep enabling people to make shitty draft choices year in and year out. That's what you guys are doing. Then it gets into the structure that Tone and I were talking about, where we're sitting here going, why are they playing that guy? Well, because they drafted that guy. And then you got to validate and justify. That's the problem you have right now. Howie has too much. I like that, Maniac. It's just stubbornness to really bend and say, I don't know how to draft corners. I don't know how to draft linebackers. And when I mess up, I feel I have to still validate my pick. Like, it's more important for would we not agree? It just seems that Howie Roseman, it's more important for him to be right than win. Okay? Will Perez goes like this. Dude stays hating on Philly like there's no other teams. How much hate do you need to get views? What am I hating on, Will? Will, in your opinion, what am I hating on? What am I hating on, Twiz? Your linebacker play? Your cornerback play? Your defensive play? Your defensive play calling? What exactly am I hating on that you think I'm wrong? What do you hate? What am I hating on? What am I hating on? Well, Callie, when you lose 6 or 7 ball games at the end of the season and you have a Chernobyl meltdown, that's usually how it goes, kid. Suck it up, dude. Dude, there's a lot of sunflower shows and a lot of snowflake shows for you. If y'all hate Sil so much, how come you come here every day? Because you know why? They know what I'm saying is the truth. And they can't face the truth because people would rather be lied to than told the truth. Flexing, you know this. Most people, like Callie Green, would rather be lied to about how great his team is and how good. Dude, no one's ripping Philly. No one's ripping the fan base. I've never ripped the fan base in any time in my entire time on the air in 3 years here. I've never ripped you guys. I've ripped individuals, but I've never ripped the fan base, ever. Buffalo, you guys, best fans around, man. I think San Francisco's got some great fans. I think Pittsburgh's got great fans. Okay? I've never ripped you guys. When your team fucking sucks, you're going to get killed. Like it or not. That's who I am. And I'm going to, you know what's crazy? Is that when Tone is being taught the business of the NFL, it makes him pissy too. Hey, here's what players deal with. Guy like Milton Williams. You know how let me tell you what Milton Williams feels every day when he goes home during the regular season. He sits around with his significant other, his wife, his girlfriend, whatever. Better than these guys, man. And you know what? You need to have a great support system. Because I felt for him all year. All year. Dude's played. He's been the second best DT the entire year next to Fletcher. Jalen was a streaky player, Jalen Carter. But the two best tackles were Fletcher Cox and Milton Williams. And Milton Williams goes home going like this. Fuck. I'm better than Jordan Davis. And I'm out playing Jalen Carter. I'll never get my chance here. I don't want to play here. You know what his agent and his wife are telling him? You're auditioning for 31 other teams. When you become a free agent, you can't stay here. You cannot stay here. If you want to be an NFL starter, it ain't in Philly. And he knows that. And I feel for him. Here, again, he's a guy that they'll never elevate. Dude, no matter what you do at the linebacker position, unless you draft a guy in the second round, Nakobe Dean's going to start. And he's going to get the opportunity. Those other guys, unless you're paying somebody big money in free agency or you drafted somebody higher, he's starting. The guy who'll sit here was drafted in the 4th round, I'll play him. Or maybe you get that Edgerrin Cooper kid from A&M and you draft him in the 3rd or 4th round. Or the 5th round, you get him somewhere down there. Kobe Dean will start. And he'll be aggravated too. Because let me tell you this, man. There's nothing more than the mind, you know what, when you play in the National Football League. Because the coaches and the organizations, they drive you into drinking and depression. It's a disgusting life in how they treat certain people. And Philadelphia is the greatest example of that. It's a hierarchy system. He goes by class. He's not a football guy. That's why. John Lynch is going to play football people. Howie Roseman is going to play the guys he drafted. There's a direct difference. I mean, when you see a guy sucks, get off him. Okay? And when you can't draft him, hire somebody. There is a ton of great talent evaluators that are in the National Football League that would love jobs. Like here, why not bring Seth Joiner into your building? Let Seth look at linebackers. Seth, what do you think? What do you think of this guy, Seth? Why wouldn't you want to take full advantage of Seth Joiner sitting in your community, who played one of the greatest defenses of all time and is arguably the best inside linebacker that you've ever had? Would we not say this, Bill Berge, Seth, in the last 60 years? Would you not say that? Seth Joiner, Bill Berge are your two best linebackers inside that you've ever had. Is that fair? Why wouldn't you ask Seth Joiner, Seth, why don't you come in and watch some tape on some backers? Give me your professional opinion, okay, on what you see at the linebacker position. Maybe there's a couple guys. We got about 5 or 6 guys that we've ID'd. And maybe you have somebody else that you could recommend, because we'd like to get your opinion. Okay, and you go like this. All right, let me take a look at these guys, and Seth give you his professional opinion on them. You don't have to have Seth Joiner coach the guys. You know what I'm saying? But what you can do is you could bring him in and get his expertise on playing the position. He played for freaking Buddy Ryan. Matt goes, Seth's testosterone is too high, makes Howie nervous. Well, that's not a reason not to ask him a question. You know, I heard Tone and those guys saying that one of the reasons Mike Vrabel didn't get a lot of job interviews is because Vrabel's very intimidating. What a bunch of weak son of a bees. You didn't bring a guy in your building because he intimidated you. No wonder you suck and you're looking for a coach. No wonder you suck. Another man intimidates a man? Well, you're not a football team then. Dude, if you're intimidated by another man's size and stature, and you don't know what the man's built from and built with and who he is, and you're intimidated by the exterior, that tells me a lot about a person. Because I know some of the smallest people on the planet that are some of the toughest people on the planet. And sizes doesn't always make the man. It's the thing inside and the engine inside that makes the man. That's why you miss so much in Philly on your picks. You look at the exterior like Jordan Davis. And you look at Jordan Davis and you go, look at the ability. Yeah, but what's inside? Is he determined to be the best player he can be? Does his motivation outweigh? I'd rather have guys on my team that outweigh their desire to be great than their ability. Because if you keep telling the kid he's going to be great, he will do everything in his power to be great. But if you got a guy who's been told that his whole life and he's got ability like Jordan has, he's going to coast. Jordan Davis is a coaster to me. He coasts along. And he relies on his ability. There's a ton of guys in the league like that. He's not the exception to that. There's a ton of guys who do that. That just coast. They're so gifted. How about this? I'll give you this point. Jordan Davis is one of the most talented big men I've ever seen. Is Jordan Davis a great football player? No. But still, he can be. Oh, well, great. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I'm not a guy that's going to sit here and go, well, I think the kid's going to really, like this, check it out. You know, I'm talking about how the roster is going to look, and maybe if you add this guy in the draft and you go free agency. You know what most of you do? Well, I think Jalen's going to turn it around and work hard. Now, do I believe that? I do, because why? There's a sample size of him doing that in his career. There's no sample size of that Jordan Davis doing that. So for you to sit here and say he's going to get in shape and he's going to be a better player next year, where do you get that from? Where do you get that from when he's never done it? Yeah, I think there's something that what a lot of people tone to, first round draft choices are overrated. The most successful round in NFL history is the third round. There's a reason. Players fall in line. It's by best player available. And by the time you get to the third round, that's where the best players that are going to make an impact on most teams are going to come from, is that third round. First round's not the biggest impact round, nor is the second. It's the third. Since 1936, the NFL has been holding the draft, and the third round has got the most production of any round in pro football history. There's a reason. Money, ability, it all lines up. And you go usually by the third round, you go to need. When you're in the first round, you're making these wild ass predictions. I mean, you're making these wild ass predictions that you're gonna land on a guy in the first round. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Like here, look at Nolan Smith. Great example. Look at your last two drafts. You overdrafted Davis, and Nolan Smith has given you nothing so far. Now, could both players eventually grow into something like Brandon Graham? Because of the programs they came from, I give that the benefit. I do. I give that the benefit because they were at great programs in a great conference. It's not like North Dakota State here. Okay? This is not like North Dakota State. So, right. Real quick, I'm going to take a time out here because we're going to get Rohan Marley on here real soon. And I want to take a time out because I'm going to take him all the way up to the top of the hour. But I want to hit one thing on the Sean Desai story. About 250,000 people have checked out that clip that we have on my social media page at Dan Sileo Show. And I heard something else yesterday, and I want to follow up with that. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.